We're live from New Delhi. You're watching the India News Hour, India's Voice to the World. I'm Leverkusen Khurana, coming up in the next hour. Israeli PM Netanyahu says if needed, Israelis will stand alone in its fight against Hamas after US warning on arms supplies. Israel strikes eastern Rafah as ceasefire talks end with no deal. Ukrainian President Zelensky dismisses head of state guard after two members accused of assassination plot. Rescue teams race against time to deliver aid to flood-stricken communities in southern Brazil. More intense rain expected as death toll reaches 107. And in football, Atalanta trounced Marseille 3-0 to reach their first Europa League final. Will play Bayer Leverkusen, who reached final with comeback draw against Roma. Well, an update on Israel-Hamas conflict first. Rejecting international pressure to halt a military operation in Gaza, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that if needed, Israel will stand alone in its fight against Hamas. Netanyahu spoke after US President Joe Biden said the US would not provide offensive weapons for Israel's military operation on the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The US has already paused a shipment of bombs to Israel.
We are determined and we are united in order to defeat our enemies and those who want to destroy us. If we need to stand alone, we will stand alone. I have said that if necessary, we will fight with our fingernails. But we have much more than fingernails, and with that same strength of spirit, with God's help, together we will win.
Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he hopes that US President Joe Biden and he can overcome their disagreements over the conflict in Gaza. In an interview to a TV channel, Netanyahu said Hamas hide behind their civilians. The Israeli Prime Minister again made it clear that he will do whatever necessary to protect Israel. On the other hand, the United States said it believes a major military operation in Rafah would weaken Israel's position in hostage talks with Palestinian militants Hamas. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller in a daily briefing said Washington continues to engage with Israel on amendments to a ceasefire proposal submitted by Hamas.
We actually think that a Rafah operation would weaken Israel's position both in these talks and writ large. We've talked about this before, that a major military operation in Rafah would further weaken Israel's standing in the world, would further create distance from its partners in the region who actually share Israel's goal of seeing Hamas defeated and want to see Hamas replaced with a different governance structure in Gaza.
Also, Israeli troops took control and closed the Rafah crossing with Egypt at the start of their operation. A senior Israeli official late on Thursday said that the latest round of indirect negotiations in Cairo to halt hostilities in Gaza had ended and Israel would proceed with its operation in Rafah and other parts of the Gaza as planned. He added that Israel has submitted to mediators its reservations about a Hamas proposal for a hostage release deal. Delegations from Hamas, Israel, the US, Egypt and Qatar had been meeting in Cairo since Tuesday. The talks in Egypt's capital made some headway, but no deal was reached. Hamas blames Israel for the lack of agreement, while Israel has said it is open to a truce, but has rejected demands for an end to the conflict. And with land routes into Gaza hard to access and not fully operational, Jordan has led a coalition of Western and Arab air forces that is focused on airdrops in northern Gaza. Commander of British forces in Cyprus, Air Vice Marshal Peter Squire, said the airdrops through Jordan are an incredibly effective way to distribute aid to Palestinians in Gaza. He said Britain's Royal Air Force was making its 11th airdrop by the Royal Air Force, which reached a cumulative total of 110 metric tons of aid on Thursday. The airdrops were mostly conducted close to Gaza's seashore because that's the safest place to drop the aid. Britain was also helping efforts to speed up the operation of a Cyprus-inspired maritime corridor, where a pier that will be placed off the Gaza coast could be operational very soon. And Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant told enemies and friends of Israel that it would do whatever necessary to achieve its aims in Gaza and the north.
We have no choice. We have no other country. We will do whatever is necessary, and I repeat, whatever is necessary, in order to defend the citizens of Israel, to remove the evil threats against us, and to stand up to those who attempt to destroy us. I turn to Israel's enemies as well as to our best of friends and say the state of Israel cannot be subdued, not the IDF, not the defense establishment, and not the state of Israel. We will stand strong. We will achieve our goals. We will hit Hamas, we will hit Hezbollah, and we will achieve security.
And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky sacked the head of the state guards on Thursday after two members were accused of plotting to assassinate the president. The State Security Service, or the SBU, said that this week it had caught two men, colonels in the State Guard of Service, accused of plotting the assassination of Zelensky and other top officials. The Security Service also claimed that the men were recruited by Russia's Federal Security Service, or the FSB, who leaked classified information to Moscow, though Russia has not commented on this yet. According to SBU, the men were tasked with finding someone close to the presidential guard who would take Zelensky hostage and later kill him. There was no indication at what point the alleged plot had been foiled. Well, moving on, Germany's Defense Minister Boris Pistorius announced on Thursday that the country will buy 3 HIMARS rocket launchers from the United States to send to Ukraine. The remarks came after a meeting between Pistorius and his U.S. counterpart Lloyd Austin in Washington.
I can now confirm this, that we will be supplying 3 HIMARS launchers to Ukraine in cooperation with the Americans. They come from the stocks of the US Armed Forces and will be paid for by us. We have also emphatically reaffirmed the importance of NATO, but also the European partners in particular, when it comes to the question of how we support Ukraine.
Well, former U.S. President Donald Trump has accused the New York judge overseeing his hush money trial of corruption. The judge, Juan Merchan, denied Trump's team's request for a mistrial after adult film star Stormy Daniels gave detailed testimony about an alleged sexual encounter. Trump, who has pleaded innocent to 34 felony charges of falsifying business records, criticized the ruling as a disgrace. DD India's correspondent Sally Patterson reports for more from New York on this.
After more than 6 hours of testimony, Stormy Daniels' time on the stand came to an end on Thursday. She talked the jury through her alleged relationship with Donald Trump that she says began back in 2006. She claims to have met the former president at a golf tournament in Lake Tahoe. She says they spoke and he later invited her back to his hotel suite. She spoke to her publicist, who told her to go ahead as it would be a great story either way, and she decided to go. Turning up at his suite, Daniels says that Donald Trump was wearing just his pajamas made of silk or satin. She says they discussed her career, they discussed the porn industry more widely, and they even discussed going into business together. Afterwards, she said she went into the bathroom, and when she came out, she claims Donald Trump was lying on his bed wearing just his underwear, and she says a sexual encounter then took place. Trump has repeatedly denied any sexual relations between the pair.
I'm innocent, and I'm being held in this court with a corrupt judge who's totally conflicted.
On the stand, the Trump's team tried to use that as an opportunity to really undermine Daniels' story. They claim that she only really spoke out about it in order to try and get money out of the story and also to boost her own position and status. But Daniels says, actually, if anything, speaking out about what she says is the truth cost her, didn't benefit her at all. She said she was forced to move home several times. She said she had to buy security in order to protect herself and her family. And she said she was threatened on social media. This all comes amid a case which is looking at an alleged payment made to Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 presidential election. The prosecution claims that that money, which was paid by Michael Cohen, who at one point was Trump's lawyer and fixer, was then paid back by Donald Trump to Cohen. They say that that money was then filed as a legal expense, which they say was actually incorrect and actually illegal. Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 criminal counts of falsifying business records. He could face jail time if found guilty on the case. He's, of course, running to be president of the United States once again and is frustrated to be spending time inside the courtroom and not out on the campaign trail. Sally Patterson in New York, reporting for DD India.
Well, moving on, Nigeria's Senate on Thursday proposed significantly toughening penalties for drug trafficking, making the death penalty the new maximum sentence through a law amendment. The amendment, which is not yet law, replaces life imprisonment, which was previously the harshest punishment. Lawmakers who opposed the measure expressed concerns about the irreversible nature of the death penalty and the possibility of wrongful convictions. Nigeria, Africa's most populous country of more than 200 million people, has in recent years gone from being a transit point for illegal drugs to a full-blown producer, consumer and distributor. And Chad State Election Body on Thursday said interim President Muhammad Idris Deby had won the May 6th presidential election outright with over 61% of the vote. National Election Management Agency Chief Ahmed Betrichet said Deby had secured 61.3% of the vote comfortably over the 50% needed to avoid a runoff. With tensions running high, large numbers of security forces deployed at major intersections in the capital and N'Djamena ahead of the results announcement. Chad's junta has become the first of the coup-hit countries in West and Central Africa to stage a return to constitutional rule via the ballot box. But some opposition parties have cried foul over vote-rigging concerns. And still to come in DD India News Hour. Election campaigning heats up in United States. President Biden will attend campaign receptions in California. We'll tell you the latest in the Baltimore mishap as authorities hope to unblock the port's shipping channel by the end of May. And the famed Lord of the Rings movie series is set to debut in theaters in 2026. We'll tell you more ahead.
How bad is climate change for us Indians? And 80% of our population lives in districts that are at risk of climate-induced disaster.
It is a concrete structure. It is a groundwater tank. So they collect the water, store it. When they go deeper, after 10 feet, they used to get the saline water.
We are now at a much warmer. So the 1.2 degrees Celsius of warming means that every single heat wave is now hotter, longer and more likely.
What people need to know is when is it going to start raining? When is it going to stop? If we provide this information, people can make their plans accordingly.
Phase 4 of the world's largest democratic elections across 96 seats in 10 states and union territories. We track the states from the south and eastern regions of India. How are the political battle lines drawn as the summer just gets hotter? Catch all the buzz as we analyze the seats that go to polls in Phase 4 in this region on the Great Indian Election at 8:30 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, election campaigning in the U.S. heats up. President Joe Biden took off from Joint Base Andrews on Thursday for a campaign stop in San Francisco in California. On Friday, the president will attend two Biden campaign receptions in the Bay Area. He will then travel to Seattle to participate in the campaign receptions on 11th of May. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump will face each other in the U.S. presidential election on 5th of November in what looks set to be a divisive, closely fought contest. And the family of an African-American U.S. Air Force airman who was fatally shot by deputies who burst into his apartment in the Florida Panhandle said that they want to correct a false narrative put forth by authorities about the encounter that led to his death. The shooting occurred on the afternoon of 3rd of May when a deputy with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office went to the apartment complex, entered the unit and opened fire. 6 shots hit Roger Fotson, 23, a senior Air Force airman who was at home in his apartment. The killing is reminiscent of an unannounced police raid in Louisville, Kentucky in March 2020 when police burst into the apartment of Breonna Taylor, a black 26-year-old emergency medical technician, killing her. Police had obtained a no-knock warrant to raid the apartment, mistaking it for the home of a suspect. And the U.S. Senate overwhelmingly passed a broad aviation bill to boost air traffic controller staffing, increase funding to avert runway close call incidents and speed refunds for cancelled flights. The $105 billion 5-year measure reauthorizes the Federal Aviation Administration. The bill prohibits airlines from charging fees for families to sit together and requires airplanes to be equipped with 24-hour cockpit recording devices and directs the FAA to deploy advanced airport surface technology to help prevent collisions. The bill, which is expected to get final approval next week from the U.S. House of Representatives, does not raise the mandatory pilot retirement age to 67 as lawmakers had sought to do last year. And latest in the Baltimore mishap, authorities hope to unblock the port's shipping channel by the end of May. The economically vital channel in Maryland's Patapsco River has been largely closed since the collapse of Baltimore's Key Bridge on 26th of March. The economically vital channel in Maryland's Patapsco River has been largely closed since the collapse of Baltimore's Key Bridge on 26th of March. Speaking to media, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has said that the 6-week closure of large portions of the port has certainly had an impact on supply chains, particularly as it came at the same time as war-related disruptions to shipping in the Red Sea and weather-related disruptions to the operations of the Panama Canal. And to improve salaries for defence personnel and upgrade equipment and infrastructure, New Zealand government approved $344.6 million to Defence Force. The funds are partly provided in savings made by the Defence Force and the Ministry of Defence, and most of it will be allocated over the next 4 years. New Zealand spends around 1% of GDP on its Defence Force, and it has suffered a number of challenges, including high turnover, in part due to low pay, which has forced the Navy to idle 3 ships. And Russia's President Vladimir Putin proposed that Mikhail Mishustin, the former prime minister, continues chairing the Russian government in Putin's new presidential term. The move comes just after Russian President Vladimir Putin was sworn in for his 5th term this week. Putin nominated current Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin in January 2020, leading many to believe he would become a technocratic authoritarian placeholder. However, Mishustin has maintained a strong track record and a relative popularity with the Russian electorate, increasing the likelihood that he will remain Prime Minister in Putin's 5th term. And Kenya on Thursday launched a fresh mediation talks between South Sudan's transitional government and opposition groups that refused to join a 2018 peace deal. The holdout groups did not sign the 2018 pact mediated by the regional bloc IGAD to end a civil war between South Sudan President Salva Kiir's government and various armed factions. Former Kenyan Army Commander Lazarus Subeyobo, who helped broker Sudan's 2005 peace deal, will lead the Nairobi talks. South Sudan is scheduled to hold elections in December this year. And moving on, the Panama Canal is in talks with the U.S. liquefied natural gas producers on how to meet increased demand for crossings. The talks come following recovery in the canal's water level after a prolonged drought. The canal is typically used by U.S. Gulf Coast exporters who send LNG cargoes to Asia. However, low water levels since last year cut daily crossings, driving many producers to seek more costly or longer alternative routes. And Israel secured a spot in the grand finale of Eurovision 2024 contest alongside Switzerland and the Netherlands. 20-year-old Israeli solo artist Eden Golan secured the spot despite large protest against the country's participation. Some 100,000 visitors have gathered in the southern Swedish city of Malmö for the annual contest. The grand finale is scheduled for Saturday and will feature performances from 26 countries.
It's in public.
I'm so overwhelmed with emotions. It's truly such an honor to be here on stage performing and showing our voice and representing us with pride and making it to the finals. It's something crazy, and I'm so grateful for everyone who voted and who took part in supporting us and me. And yeah, I'm just super excited to go on stage once more and share a bit of my love with everyone.
And weather updates now from across the globe. Rescue efforts continued in southern Brazil as the region battles devastating floods which left at least 107 people dead on Thursday. More than 1 million people have been affected by flooding in Rio Grande do Sul. Over 67,500 are in shelters. The military and volunteers are on ground organizing food and clothing for victims. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said on Wednesday that the damage will only be quantifiable when the waters recede. Well, almost 1 million people have been affected in East Africa's flooding and landslides wreak havoc in Burundi, Kenya, Somalia and Tanzania. The unusually heavy rains exacerbated by the 2023-24 El Nino climate phenomena has led to heavy damage. Hundreds of lives have been lost, highlighting the urgent need for humanitarian assistance. Large number of people have been displaced with significant damage to homes, schools and infrastructure. Also, a scorching heat wave gripped Mexico on Thursday, raising temperatures. A maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius was recorded in the country's capital. Mexico is experiencing its second heat wave of the spring season, with temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius across the country. Electricity demand and unseasonably hot weather caused power outages in at least 15 states, and drought has affected dam levels. And Costa Rica is suffering from the worst drought in 5 decades. To reduce pressure and cope with shortages, the country announced an electricity rationing plan on Thursday. A severe lack of rainfall has affected hydroelectric plants, which gives about 70% of its electricity supply. The country last saw electricity rationing in 2007. State-run electricity company ICE has blamed the drought conditions partly on El Nino. Also, in India, the Meteorological Department has announced that the heat wave is nearing its end across the nation. Some regions, however, some in West Rajasthan and Kerala, are still facing severe heat wave, prompting authorities to issue alerts. According to the India Meteorological Department, multiple weather systems are expected to influence various parts of the country in the coming days, bringing with them rainfall, thunderstorms, lightning and gusty winds. And for more on the weather update, Tapas Bhattacharya joins us from Delhi. Well, good morning, Tapas. With intense weather patterns across the world right now, which we just read in India, IMD has said that the heat wave is nearing its end across the nation, but has also issued a yellow alert for Rajasthan. What update can you give us?
Right. So let me just put it this way: that yesterday maximum temperatures were in the range of 43 to 46 degrees Celsius in many parts of West Rajasthan and in isolated pockets of East Rajasthan. And the temperatures also was expected was there in 40 to 43 degrees Celsius over many parts of Madhya Pradesh and some parts of Gujarat and Odisha and isolated pockets of Madhya Maharashtra, Marathwada, south of Haryana, Telangana. Now, these were in the range, these were above the normal range of by 2 to 4 degrees Celsius in most of the places, also even on Karnataka. So that's one point of it. The other part I like to mention out here is that as per IMD, one believes that there is a cyclonic circulation that is currently going on over certain parts of the country, especially northeast of Assam, and another cyclonic circulation was over east of Bangladesh. And because of the trough that runs over east of Assam to north of Odisha and the lower troposphere, one believes that there will be a widespread of rainfall activity that is expected, especially over the places of West Bengal, Sikkim, and some places of Jharkhand, Bihar, Odisha, and there is thunderstorm and lightning also is expected over Bihar, sub-Himalayan and northwest part of the country. We have been told that in Delhi, the national capital of India, we will have a squally wind condition. Thunderstorm might also occur in some parts of the state. So overall, the kind of heat wave condition that was currently going on, even till yesterday, we might see an abatement of that in the next couple of days because of the cyclonic circulation that is currently prevalent, and also the western disturbance that is currently prevalent over the northwest part of the country. So good news for people who have been had struggled over the last couple of weeks with the heat wave condition in the country.
All right. Tapas, also, according to a new report, as many as 27 large cities across India experienced heat stress, a situation when the heat index exceeds 41 degrees Celsius. Can you tell us more about that?
It is expected, in the summer condition, one expects the heat wave conditions to increase in many fold, and this heat wave, this heat index that the Met Department have just come out with, it showcases the exact point. Earlier, this was not there. This is something that the India's Meteorological Department has recently started, and that's something that actually kind of gives us an accurate idea of how the current heat wave condition impacts the common people. So that's something that have been working on, and this actually kind of puts the whole onus on the system that this is exactly what is happening in the country. But this is something that one we realize that in the last few years that the weather pattern, the climatic condition that has undergone radical changes in the years years gone by. We have to take into consideration of that. This also is it's kind of a prelude to what can happen if this climatic condition can go on, and we the whole weather change pattern that we are seeing. We have to, it's not just in the national capital, but the overall part of the country. We have seen this condition prevailing in the last at least 3 to 4 years. But with the kind of index that the IMD has come, this actually gives us a full-fledged idea of the condition that we have to experience. Now,
yes,
it is very important to know that how to mitigate these things, and so you have to plant more trees, you have to take care of the nature. That's we have been talking about sustainable point that we have been talking about, and it is high time that we put our words into action.
Yes, IMD gives us a clearer picture. Thank you so much, Tapas, for that update from there. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A massive 3D printer dubbed the Factory of the Future 1.0 is building a house in Maine. The printer has been designed to help address a shortage of homes and construction workers in the U.S., printing dwellings in days that could be installed within hours. The prototype, called BioHome 3D, is made entirely with bio-based materials. A fresh installment in the popular Lord of the Rings movie series is set to debut in theatres in 2026. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav on Thursday announced that it would be one of the two new Lord of the Rings films. English actor Andy Serkis will direct the first of the two films. Famous monuments across Europe were illuminated in European Union colours to mark Europe Day on Thursday, a month ahead of the EU elections in June. The European flag, with its 12 yellow stars, was projected on the facades of landmarks in Croatia and Bulgaria. Rome's ancient Colosseum and Madrid's Puerta del Sol were also lit up as part of the campaign to raise awareness among citizens ahead of the elections. EU citizens will elect 720 new members of the European Parliament for a 5-year term from the 6th to the 9th of June. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Padma Awards, among the highest civilian honours of the country, were conferred to eminent persons yesterday by President Draupadi Murmu. As the fourth phase of India's Lok Sabha elections nears, political parties pick up on their campaigns to woo the voters. Portals of Kedarnath Shrine open for devotees in North India's Uttarakhand.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says if needed, Israelis will stand alone in its fight against Hamas after US warning on arms supplies. Israel strikes at eastern Rafah as ceasefire talks end with no deal. Ukrainian President Zelensky dismisses head of state guard after two members accused of assassination plot. Rescue teams race against time to deliver aid to flood-stricken communities in southern Brazil. More intense rain expected as death toll reaches 107. And in football, Atalanta trounced Marseille 3-0 to reach their first Europa League final. Will play Bayer Leverkusen, who reached final with comeback draw against Roma. Well, India's President Draupadi Murmu conferred the Padma Awards during a civil investiture ceremony in New Delhi on Thursday. The Padma Awards are the highest civilian honours in India. These awards are categorised into three categories, including Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri. DD India's Abhishek Mahajan files this report.
Veteran actor Vaijayantimala Bali, Telugu star Konidela Chiranjeevi, the first woman judge of the Supreme Court, late M. Fatima Bibi, and Bombay Samachar owner Harmusji and Kama were among the eminent persons conferred Padma Awards by President Draupadi Murmu on Thursday.
I've been in this line for the last 40 odd years, and I'm happy that the government has recognized my contribution to Indian languages, basically Gujarati. And I have tried my best to promote the language. You know, we organize book fairs, we organize books for children, we organize Gujarati plays, so that the language remains vibrant. Honorable Prime Minister made a special trip to Bombay to release a stamp on our bicentenary, which was very nice.
Ladakh's spiritual leader, Togdan Rinpoche, Tamil actor, late Captain Vijay Kant, Kundan Vyas, group editor and CEO of Gujarati newspaper Janmabhoomi, Gauri Lakshmibai Thampuratti were also conferred Padma Awards. at a civil investiture ceremony held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
It is a feeling of great surprise initially. Of course, I'm happy because it is an on the nation is giving. I'm grateful, very, very grateful to my Bhagavan Sri Padmanabha Swami, to my ancestors and all well-wishers. And people from grassroots levels, the ordinary people or people whom we call ordinary. And where they may be extraordinary, ordinarily, extraordinarily, ordinarily, whatever it is. So that way Padma has become more available to so many people, and that is really very, very good.
The Padma Awards, among the highest civilian honours of the country, are conferred in three categories: Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri. The awards are given in various disciplines or fields of activities such as art, social work, public affairs, science and engineering, trade and industry, medicine, literature and education, sports, civil service, etc. Abhishek Mahajan for DD India.
Well, the Char Dham Yatra commences with the opening of portals of Kedarnath Shrine today with worship and Vedic chanting. The portals of Kedarnath Dham, one of the 12 Jyotirlingas of Lord Shiva, were opened for the devotees on the auspicious occasion of Akshaya Tritiya. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami was present along with the numerous pilgrims from across the country at the holy shrine during the ceremonial opening of the temple after remaining closed during the winter season. Along with the Kedarnath Dham, the portals of Yamunotri Temple, the revered source of the Yamuna River, were also opened for the devotees, while the doors of Gangotri Temple will be opened in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the Badrinath Shrine, considered as Lord Vishnu's abode on earth, will be opened on the 12th of May. And now let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Well, the fourth phase of India's Lok Sabha elections is set to be held on 13th of May with voters across 96 constituencies in 10 states to cast their ballot. This phase will witness voters in all 25 seats in Andhra Pradesh and 17 constituencies in Telangana, along with other states participating in the electoral process. The build-up to this phase has been intense, with political rallies and campaigns in full swing. And campaigning for the fourth phase of Lok Sabha elections scheduled for May 13th gains momentum as political leaders holding rallies and roadshows across the nation. In order to garner support of voters in the favour of party's candidate, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Maharashtra, Telangana, Hyderabad and Odisha today, where he will be holding rallies and roadshow. Also, BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah to visit West Bengal and Jharkhand today. Amit Shah to hold rallies in Asansol, Rampur Hat and Ranaghat of West Bengal. Later in the day, Amit Shah to campaign for party candidate Arjun Munda in Jharkhand's Khunti. Senior BJP leader and Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold public meetings in Dhumka and Goda of Jharkhand. He will also hold rally in Puri, the holy city of Odisha. And in order to garner support in party's favour, political parties geared up to woo voters across the country. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge to hold rallies in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Also, Bahujan Samaj Party Supremo Mayawati to hold public meetings in Akbarpur parliamentary constituency of Uttar Pradesh. Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav to hold rallies in Uttar Pradesh's Kannauj and Kanpur. And for more, we have DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre joining us from Telangana. Well, Akshay, good morning. The Lok Sabha elections in Telangana are a three-way fight almost between the K. Chandrasekhar Rao-led Bharat Rashtra Samiti, the India Bloc and the BJP. How is the campaigning going on?
Well, the campaigning is in its last leg, Nipakshi, now, with the state going for polls. All the 7 constituencies of the of the Lok Sabha in Telangana going for polls on 13th of May. So all the political parties have in fact sent their star campaigners to give a final push in the campaigning phase. For example, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was here day before yesterday, campaigning in the state. Yesterday, it was Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Today, once again, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming and campaigning in the Hyderabad constituency. From the Congress side, today, it is going to be the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge. Yesterday, it was the former Congress President Rahul Gandhi who was campaigning in the state. And from the BRS side, the Bharata Rashtra Samiti side, former Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao is holding a bus tour across the state to garner support for his party and to in a bid to regain the ground that it has lost. So the campaigning has been intensified. In fact, in the past several days, the campaigning has been gaining momentum and will continue till tomorrow, till 6 p.m. When the campaigning comes to an end. So we barely have 2 days left for the campaigning. In fact, less than that. For the campaign, before the campaigning comes to an end and the voting starts on the 13th of May. So all the political parties are pushing their star campaigners, their big faces in a bid to gain or rather expand into the state. And the Congress party will also try to repeat its performance of 2023 legislative election. Where it had won a majority and formed the government in the state. So the campaigning it seems going to only intensify till it comes to an end.
Right. Also, Akshay, Hyderabad, if you talk about Hyderabad, Karimnagar, Nizamabad and Sikandrabad, which are the key constituencies to watch for in Telangana, what are the key issues there which you think will affect the vote?
Well, Lipakshi, if you look at the result of the legislative assembly elections that took place last year, the picture was very different from what we saw in the 2019 Lok Sabha election. In 2019 Lok Sabha election, out of the 17 seats, 9 had gone to the BRS, 4 had gone to the BJP, 3 had gone to the Congress party, and 1 had gone to the AIMIM. However, when we look at the legislative elections, it's the Congress party who had won a majority 60 seats. The BJP was only limited to about 8 seats, and the BRS had got only 39 seats, them in the opposition side. So the issues and the ways Telangana votes is quite different in these different elections. It is local and civic issues when it comes to civic elections or the legislative elections, the Lok Sabha elections. The issues are usually about national politics, about infrastructure overall, about how the national issue in the entire country. So that is going to be a key aspect of these elections.
All right.
The issues and why.
All right, Akshay, there's a problem with the audio right now. We'll come back to you again. Thank you so much for that information. And moving on, Hyderabad, the capital of the Indian state of Telangana, is a melting pot of cultures and cuisines. The traditional and the modern coexist to give the city a unique identity. The city is witnessing a keen contest as Telangana prepares to vote in the 4th phase of election on the 13th of May. Shubhendu Ghosh reports for more.
India's diversity is always enriched by influences from around the world. I'm having Irani chai at Charminar. They say it was brought to India by Persian immigrants. It is best enjoyed with this beautifully baked Osmania biscuits. Well, it is time for elections in Telangana. Welcome to Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a melting pot of cultures and cuisines. The heritage and the modern coexist to give the city its unique identity. Charminar has been the city centre of Hyderabad for over 400 years. As Telangana prepares to vote in the 4th phase of elections, electrifying contest is being witnessed here in Hyderabad. 4-time MP Asaduddin Owaisi of AIMIM is challenged by Madhavilata of the BJP. Congress and the BRS candidates are also in the fray.
Being a woman myself, even though it is a modernized India, still we feel oppression and we need to reach our home by 9 o'clock no matter we roam in Charminar, which is still open till 12 o'clock, but we need to be home by 12. So it's always a raging issue for the women's safety. It should be a major point to be stressed on.
गरीब क्या चाहता, देश की आवाम क्या चाहती, सबसे ज़्यादा इस देश में 80% गरीब लोग हैं. वो लोग चाहते हैं बेरोजगारी को हटाओ, महंगाई को हटाओ, रोजगार चाहते, शिक्षा नहीं मिल रही सही तरीके से गरीब को.
As people brave scorching hot summers, we learn that Telangana is also bracing for a severe water crisis. We learn about the problem from Maitri Aquatech, an award-winning startup that has created a unique innovation to harvest clean potable water from thin air.
Over a period of time, the successive administration has not been able to focus on recharging the groundwater, issues which will recharge the groundwater, or even reviving the water bodies. So Hyderabad had almost close to 200 water bodies. Today, hardly a handful of them are really viable and working.
Telangana will vote on all 17 seats on May 13th. Results of the general elections will be declared on June 4th. With camera person Narayan, Shubhendu Ghosh, DD India, Hyderabad.
Well, still to come on DD India News Hour. Asian stocks rally as European shares scale new highs, dollar slips. In IPL, Punjab Kings became the second team to be eliminated from playoff contention after losing Bengaluru on Thursday. And 15 breathtaking exhibitions called Limitless are on display in New York's Manhattan.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. Lepakshi Kuran on to some business news now. World stocks rallied on Thursday, led by surging European shares and a larger than unexpected rise in US weekly jobless claims that buoyed interest rate cut hopes, while the dollar eased as the market awaits key inflation data next week. Following a sluggish open, the major US indices pulled higher, with the Dow Industrials rising for a seventh straight session. New signs of a softening labor market provided hope the Federal Reserve might cut rates as soon as September. Overnight in Asia, Chinese trade data and some property market developments had helped Chinese stocks continue their recent outperformance. Customs figures showed that China's imports jumped 8.4% in April from a year earlier, beating expectations for a rise of 4.8%, while exports returned to growth, meeting forecast in a boost to economic growth. And in a bid to safeguard the prized U.S. technology against foreign bad actors, U.S. lawmakers unveiled a bill that would make it easier for the Biden administration to impose export controls on AI models. The bill will also give the Commerce Department express authority to bar Americans from working with foreigners to develop AI systems that pose risks to U.S. national security. The legislation aims to bulletproof any future AI export regulations from legal challenges. And U.S. President Joe Biden's administration is poised to unveil a sweeping decision on China tariffs as soon as next week. As per Reuters quoting Bloomberg's report, the decision is the culmination of a review of so-called Section 301 tariffs first imposed under Donald Trump. The administration is set to impose new targeted tariffs on some key sectors, including electric vehicles, batteries, and solar equipment. The full announcement is expected to also largely maintain existing levies. An announcement is scheduled for May 14th. And Microsoft backed OpenAI plans to announce its artificial intelligence-powered search product on Monday. According to sources, OpenAI is working on a search product to potentially compete with Alphabet's Google and with Perplexity, a well-funded AI search startup. The announcement could be timed a day before the start of Google's annual I/O conference on May 14th, where the tech giant is expected to unveil a slew of AI-related products. OpenAI has declined to comment. And Apple on Thursday issued an apology after an advertisement for its latest iPad Pro model sparked criticism. The ad, which showed an animation of musical instruments and other symbols of creativity being crushed, received a strong reaction for audiences. Firad Age quoted the company's statement of the apology, saying they missed the mark with the new advertisement. The advertisement, titled Crush, has over 1 million views on Apple's YouTube channel and was shared by CEO Tim Cook on social media platform X. An Argentine trade union said on Thursday that the huge general strike against painful austerity measures and planned reforms by new Libertarian President Javier Milei was a success. The South American country saw public transport, the important grains crushing sector, supermarkets, airports and banks grind to a halt for 24 hours as most of the major unions joined the protest action against the government. The strike has been seen flights suspended, ports paralyzed, and schools and universities with minimal functions. The government criticized the strike as unjustified and said it would simply hit people who wanted to work, something reflected on the quiet city streets in Buenos Aires. And you're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sports news. Atalanta reached their first Europa League final with a 3-0 win over Marseille for a 4-1 aggregate victory on Thursday. Ademola Lookman put Atalanta ahead in the second leg on the half hour with a long-range strike past Pau Lopez. He later set up Matteo Ruggieri to double the lead 7 minutes after the break. Later substitute El Bilalto put the nail in Marseille's coffin with a goal in the 94th minute. The Italians, who have never before reached a European final, will meet Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League showpiece match in Dublin on May 22nd. And meanwhile, in another semi-final, Bayer Leverkusen staged a late comeback to move into the Europa League final with a 2-2 home draw against Roma on Thursday and win 4-2 on aggregate. With the win, Leverkusen set the longest unbeaten run in all competitions, including European matches. Leverkusen played their 49th match without defeat to surpass Benfica's record set from 1963 to 65, but they had to battle for the second leg draw. Bayer Leverkusen will take on Atalanta in the final at Dublin. And in cricket, Punjab Kings became the second team to be eliminated from playoff contention in the ongoing IPL after losing to Royal Challengers Bengaluru by 60 runs on Thursday. Virat Kohli anchored a crucial 92 runs off 47 balls in the game as RCB posted a huge total of 241 for 7 in 20 overs. Rajat Patidar and Cameron Green also played crucial knocks after Punjab Kings stand-in captain Sam Curran won the toss and opted to bowl first. Chasing the mammoth target, PPKs were bowled out for 181 in 17 overs. And former Ivorian footballer Didier Drogba lit the Olympic cauldron at the end of the first day of Paris 2024 torch relay in Marseille on Thursday. Ex-NBA basketball player Tony Parker was earlier among those carrying out torchbearer responsibilities along a route that ended at the State Velodrome, where Drogba played for Olympique Marseille before moving to Chelsea in 2004. The Olympic flame landed on French soil on Wednesday amid tight security, firing the starting gun on a summer extravaganza of sport. The flame arrived in Marseille after a 12-day trip from Greece on board the Belém, a 128-year-old three-masted tall ship.
3, 2, 1.
And 15 breathtaking exhibitions called Limitless are on display at the Mercer Labs Museum of Art and Technology in New York's Manhattan. The 36,000 square foot museum incorporates Braille and provides an immersive experience in art, sound and technology. One of the installations also integrates 507,000 LED neuron microchips. that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Kuran from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.